Now, it's been great getting back onto the SUV trail with the Discovery Sport, and it's gotten me into the mood. Now, a few days ago, I got the chance to spend some time with another SUV that is coming to India, finally, I should say, in 2015. There's been a big delay from Fiat-Chrysler in making that announcement with the Jeep brand, quintessential SUV brand, and you've had the chance to see some of those stories from us on the program before, but now let's talk about the flagship that will start things off for Jeep in India, and that is the Grand Cherokee.
The much-awaited and much-anticipated debut of the rugged 4x4 Jeep brand in India has been consistently pushed ahead. Now finally we can confirm that the company will begin its India story before the end of 2015. There will be around 15 dealers, which will likely double a year later. Jeep promises to arrive with 2 direct imports for starters, the Wrangler that you see on your screens and this. The flagship of the brand is the Grand Cherokee, and when it arrives, it will surely be the one that the company will expect more from by way of the attention that it will generate, and perhaps the sales too. But given the delay in getting Jeep here, it will need to take on some pretty tough competition.
At the top end of the luxury SUV market or the premium SUV market, especially with the Indian context in mind, it's important to have a lot of presence, and so good looks certainly do become pretty major. And what you're seeing here is the new face, so to speak, from Jeep that was introduced a few years ago. This is the facelifted version of the Grand Cherokee, so it does have the new LED signature light that's been thrown in. Of course, that's a top-end feature, but again, I expect that to come to India. Lots of chrome up front, and this is again a signature Jeep grille, big Jeep badge on top over here. Gives the car a very distinct look as well, I have to say, and because this is the high end, you see a fair amount of chrome thrown into the bumper, and also when you come around to the side, the mirrors as well as this bit of skirting down here at the bottom, all of that has chrome door handles. You know that in India we love all of that, don't we? So from the style statement point of view, there's plenty that's thrown in that implies high end, and you've also got a panoramic roof if all of this wasn't enough to impress you.
The Summit variant of the Grand Cherokee is top-of-the-line stuff. Of course, in the 4x4 variant, you also have the Performance SRT model, but never mind that for now.
It's a pretty ample-sized boot, and the tailgate does shut by itself. It's an auto door, and you also have similar sort of styling and LED treatment done back here, which kind of complements what you saw up front. I did mention top-end variant, so there you go. There's the proof of that. Summit is the top trim. You, of course, have Laredo, which is the entry level, and then also a couple of other variants in the middle, but we're not sure yet what's going to come to India. My money would be on the Summit trim. Lots of chrome in the back, once again, to keep in touch with the kind of styling you've seen around the sides and the front of the car too.
The variants in between are the Limited and Overland, by the way. But like we said, it is likely we get just a Summit trim. Inside, it means that you have a light palette and pretty much every feature from that panoramic sunroof down to a Harman Kardon sound system, navigation and Bluetooth all covered. The car's seats are ample, and seating position, though commanding and high, is by no means difficult to access. Very comfy seats, in fact, we have to say, front and back.
What's new for the 2014 model year on the car is an all-new gearbox option. It's the 8-speed ZF automatic. Yes, it has been co-developed with ZF, and it's now made by Chrysler here in the US at its Indiana plant. And the reason I'm talking about it is not just because it's new, but it also enhances the performance. You get a lot more of a sporty feel, and there is a sport mode thrown in for good measure as well, which really lets you rev the 5.7-liter engine. And the other point, you know, I do expect it to show up on the cars that come to India, because remember, we are getting completely built imports, and so which is why you'd expect a lot of the top-end equipment to come in. And the good news is that it can be mated to the 3-liter diesel as well, and so which is the other reason I expect that we will see it there.
The engine we do have is the very juicy Monster V8, 360 horses and a massive 530 Nm of torque. The Hemi engine is a beast, and it's mated beautifully to that 8-speed that we talked about already. Engine options with the Summit trim include the 3.6-litre 290 bhp V6 Pentastar and the 3-litre eco-diesel with 240 horsepower. We expect these two engines in India, quite frankly, and maybe even just the diesel. The car with Siddharth has the top end and latest Quadra Drive 2 four-wheel drive system. It has an electronic limited slip differential which can send up to 100% of the engine's torque to the wheels if needed. There is also a select train system, very much like Land Rover's terrain response. The price point expected hovers at about the 55 lakh rupee mark, though this may change next year depending on Jeep's final trim and variant strategy and currency fluctuations. The car offers a few customization options, although we don't think most of this will make it to India. While we drove the 5.7-litre Hemi, we also managed to jump into this car, the very hot and fiery looking Trailhawk 2 concept. Now, it's always fun to drive a concept car, and the blood orange car totally got Siddharth, as did its awesome rugged yet sporty styling cues, the SRT-inspired hood, the 17-inch aluminium wheels wrapped in monstrous 35-inch Mickey Thompson off-road tires. Wow!
Now, it's not often that you get to drive a concept vehicle, and so of course there is that thrill for me when I got into this car, but the primary intention really was to check out the 3-litre diesel engine that's under the hood of this car, because of course that's the one that's relevant to our market. So while we're at it, why not run you through the specs on that engine as well, because well, you know what, most of you care about that one too, don't you?
So, okay then, before we wrap this up, let's show you those specs, shall we? The engine actually feels more powerful than what it is, 240 bhp output. The engine is made by VM Motori Cento, an Italian engine maker that is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Fiat Group, of course. It's got the looks, it's got the grunt, and frankly, even though we could very well do just fine with the smaller engines, two-wheel drive and base trims, but given that it's going to be a direct import and that it has to compete not with Toyota or Mitsubishi, but instead with the likes of BMW, Audi or Land Rover, expect only top-end variants. Jeep will also launch the 4x4 Wrangler, as we said, but what we will watch more closely is what happens with the subsequent products that arrive starting 2017. Shared compact platforms with Fiat will likely see cars like the Renegade subcompact SUV being made at Fiat's Ranjangaon facility outside Pune. Now that is what will really excite this market, isn't it?